Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, April 14th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. First up, Burger King made some pretty big news around Google, specifically using the Google Home device, where Burger King essentially spammed Google Home devices and Google Assistants with a new TV commercial. What happened was, this guy over here went ahead and basically used the trigger word, which would trigger the Google device, the Google Home device, to basically read off a featured snippet. So let me just go ahead and play that for you. So that would actually trigger the Google Home device to go ahead and read off the Wikipedia entry or the feature snippet for a Whopper burger. Google, within 3 hours of that TV commercial airing, went ahead and disabled Google from actually responding to that type of command. And it was basically Burger King trying to be smart and witty around using Google Home devices to actually go ahead and trigger such a response. It was smart, but yet it was kind of spammy, and it made Google look pretty bad around that. Sorry, it made Burger King look pretty bad around that. Google announced product schema for image search months after it actually went live. So back in December, we announced that there was a new product schema that was used for image search to show similar items. And Google just announced last week that they now are showing similar items in Google's image search. So if you see the image result, you see over here, there are related images. And that's only pulled because there's a schema that allows that to happen. So if you haven't implemented a schema for your products, images, and so forth, you should do that because it might get you some traffic from Google image search. Google featured snippets are now showing more images in the search results. So if you do searches for things that typically bring up featured snippets in the Google search results, like how to cut a watermelon and how to tie a shoe and stuff like that, Google's more likely now to show images in those featured snippets. They used to do it in the past, but now it seems to happen way more likely. With that, we also noticed that Google is showing images from different parties from the content. So for example, here's a featured snippet that is pulled from Babbel.com, but yet the image is shown from Nameberry.com. Two different websites. The content's being pulled from one source, site A, and the image is being sourced from site B. Of course, Google used to do this with Google News results, and they do this now with Google News results, where they have a content from one place and the image might be featured from another place. So it's not uncommon, but it's definitely more common now for feature snippets. Of course, Google says they update the feature snippets selector algorithm often, and this is why you always see different feature snippets coming up for the same types of queries. Gary from Google, I believe, said that you have better things to do with your time than update the disavow file. If you're working on SEO, you probably have 1,000 other things to do than what Gary said in terms of updating the disavow file. This is because we said last week that Google said if you're worried about negative SEO, use a disavow file. But of course, at the same time, Google's like, you don't really need to. You have other things to do than use a disavow file. Related to that, Google said if you see your rankings drop after you use the disavow file, maybe you should go ahead and remove some of those less spammy links or less shady links. So here's Gary from Google is basically saying, in response to the disavow file, and if you see your rankings drop after a disavow, just remove the less shady links from the file. You have total control over this. So if you are concerned that you went ahead and used the disavow file and your rankings dropped, don't worry, just remove some of those disavow files, but I wouldn't spend all day, obviously, playing with the disavow file. Google also said that domain name age doesn't matter for search results. So somebody asked, does domain name age matter in search results rankings? And John Mueller said, no, it doesn't matter. Interesting. Gary from Google said that there is no penalty for using all caps in your title tag. So go ahead and feel free to use all caps if you want to. I don't like to do that, but there is no penalty for doing that. And Gary also said that if you tweet at Google, so if you go ahead and mention John Mueller or Gary, there's probably no correlation between your rankings dropping and tweeting to Google. Of course, it's like, you don't want to drive by a cop car going 100 miles per hour over the speed limit because you'll get a ticket. But at the same time, if you're not doing anything crazy, spammy, and so forth, tweeting at Google is not going to go ahead and get you in the doghouse, or as I said here, birdhouse. Also, Gary from Google basically said months and months and months ago, almost a year ago, that he has better tools in his tool belt than the Google Evaluator. So penalizing sites, I guess, is something that he can do. He can even do some stuff that's worse. So maybe tweeting at him is an issue. Probably not. Google is testing showing the number of reviews a reviewer left in the reviews, in the actual reviews. So, for example, you see here, this person left a review, Amy, and it was her first and only review for this listing. But Jennifer has left 22 reviews across multiple profiles and multiple Google listings. So maybe that person's more trustworthy, or maybe not, than the other people. Google My Business now lets you enter in your own URL attributes, which you can link to specific pages. So if you have like menus or something like that, you could actually link to your menu on your website and say this is your menu, and it'll actually let you list that attribute there. This is pretty crazy. Ask.com went ahead and leaked for about 3 days public search query data. I'm not sure why that's blinking. It's probably a loose wire. So it was available. I covered this at Search Engine Land, but basically they inadvertently went ahead and left their server status, Apache server status page live for anybody to view, and that's what it looks like. It has like IP address and stuff like that. The IP addresses were actually not from users. They were actually just the ask.com firewall IP addresses. So it wasn't revealing any searchers' IP addresses, but it was reverting public search query data. So you can see how to become a financial advisor, different types of inappropriate types of queries as well. So we're actually revealing direct queries in the search results. They actually went ahead and fixed that, patched up, and is no longer public. You can now submit any URL to Google Index by searching submit a URL to Google. So if you just search submit URL to Google, you get this little box. You can actually submit it to Google right there. It is pretty much the same thing as a submit URL form in Google. It's different than the Google Search Console version and so forth. In any event, just a quick note, I was offline on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. I will be offline next week, Monday and Tuesday. I hope to have posts scheduled for those days. It's Passover again, and I will be offline completely. I hope to have scheduled posts. For anybody celebrating Passover, hope you have a nice and healthy and kosher Passover. And for everybody else, have a great weekend. I think it's also Easter and Good Friday. Everyone have a great, great weekend. Have a great week, and I hope to see you guys next week. Again, this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz, and today is April 14th. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Bye.